This will be our last question, and this is the New York Times, so don't hold it against them.
The paper of record, New York Times. I appreciate you inviting the tough questions and your crowd welcoming the tough questions here. The question is
I'm sure you're going to ask me an easy one, though, Mike, just to make up for it.
The question is about Springfield, not about the situation, but the style, which I think is something new that we're seeing on the campaign trail. You've said, regardless of what the exact precise facts are here, it's worth it to make the larger point of in town overrun by immigration.
Well, I'd say, Mike, you ask your question,
yes,
but no, I didn't say regardless of the precise facts. I said you have to listen to what people are saying. Right? The media has tried to say now for days that I've made up this story. I haven't made up anything. I've just listened to people who were telling me these things. And when I said, and the media always does this, they're very dishonest, when I say that I created a story, I'm talking about the media story. By focusing the press's attention on what's going on in Springfield, I'm not making anything up. I'm just telling you what my own constituents are telling me. But ask your question.
That's the point. Your willingness to shine a light on issues you see as important.
Sure.
And I'm wondering if you can describe, if you know where your line is on that. Something, at what point, what's something you're willing not to say in order to make a point that is important to you?
Well, I mean, come on.
If you know.
Mike. Well,
Here's
Mike,
a question for him,
Mike,
not the crowd.
What I wouldn't say is that the New York Times is a respectable paper. That's one thing I wouldn't be willing to say. But all kidding aside, if one person had called me and said, I'm seeing this in Springfield, we maybe let that pass. When 4, 5, 6, 7 people are telling me they see something in Springfield, and on top of it, that there are certain people who refuse to listen to them, who refuse to take their concerns seriously, that's when it's my job as a United States Senator to listen to my constituents. That's really, it's very simple. Now, I mean, look, there's a lot of crazy stuff you read about. I mean, one of these things, I don't know if you saw the story from a couple of years ago that, like, the Defense Department had declassified the UFO stuff. Did you see that? That was a crazy story. I don't talk about that because I have no idea what's going on. So my standard for whether I talk about something, Mike, is whether enough people that I trust bring it to me, at least to the point where I feel like I've got to investigate it myself, not just trust the media to do their job, because a lot of times they don't. So, by the way, to all the journalists there, if you do know anything about the UFO story, please tell us, because we're very, very fascinated by it. But look, let me leave you with just one final thought here. So, one thing that people ask me, and it's very sweet, it's very kind of them to ask me, but they always ask me how we're doing. They ask me, Anusha, how we're doing. And I'll say that in a lot of ways, running for the vice presidency, I know why they ask, right? Because they assume that running for the vice presidency is hard. But honestly, it's been the great professional honor of my life to get up here and ask you to be your next vice president of the United States. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't ever complain about it. And thank you. Thank you. But the thought I wanted to leave you with is a fellow Waterboy fan over here. But look, I know why people ask, but let me just say this. First of all, it's a lot easier to run for vice president than it is to run for Senate. You know, Ohio's not that different from Wisconsin in a lot of ways. And running for Senate in the state of Ohio, I rode around in the back of one of my guys' used Subarus, and now I ride around in a 737, right? That's a pretty nice upgrade. Not bad. But what I wish that I could do is give every single one of you the perspective that I've gotten over this beautiful country over the last seven weeks. Because you fly into places like Eau Claire, and we were in Grand Rapids earlier today, and trust me, as a Buckeye, it's hard to compliment the state of Michigan, but it is a beautiful state. It really is one of the most beautiful states in the union. But you go to Arizona and you see these beautiful, beautiful deserts and natural landmarks. You go into Nevada, you go into Pennsylvania, the mountains of central Pennsylvania, and every single day, I cannot help but think, my God, this is a beautiful, beautiful country. It really is. And I think that one thing that we ought to do, and one thing we have to do over the next 7 weeks, is remind the American people that, yes, this is a beautiful country. We've got the best workers. We've got the best cultural and historical traditions. We have got every single bounty that God could possibly give a nation, including natural resources, that the Chinese and the Russians, they would love to have. The only thing that's broken about this country is the failed leadership of Kamala Harris. Let's send her back to San Francisco and give the country a president it deserves. God bless you all. Thank you for having me.